Now this is number 2 question on equivalent ratio. 8 ratio 5 equal to 6, I beg your pardon, B ratio 25. Now what do you do first? Convert to fraction. 8 over 5 is equal to B over 25. Like we did in the previous one. Remember, check the denominator. Which number will you multiply with 5 to give you 25? That same number multiplied with 8, it gives you B. So which number would that be? It's 5. 5 times 5 gives us 25. Some of you will ask, how did I get the 5? Just divide the denominator. 25 divided by 5 gives you the number. So, but we want to show how to go about it. So what do? You multiply both sides with the LCM. Multiply both sides with the LCM. Looking at this 25 and 5. What's the LCM of 25 and 5? It's 5. So you multiply through by the LCM. So this gives us 25 times 8 over 5. Multiply this by 25. Multiply this by 25. Equal to 25 times B over 25. Now some of you will ask, oh, why are we multiplying both sides by 25? Why don't we just multiply one side by 25? It's because anything you do on the left-hand side of a problem like this that has an equality sign, anything you do on one side, you must use on the other side to make them the same. Remember, this question says this side is equal to this side. So if you're adding 1 here, you must add 1 here. If you are multiplying 2 by 2 here, you must multiply by 2 here. If you are dividing by 3 here, you must divide by 3 on this side. So that's the reason. 5 here, 1. 5 here, 5. 25 here, 1. 25 here gives us what? 1. So from here, 5 times 8 gives us 40, equal to B. Therefore, our B is equal to 40. We'll be moving over to number 3 question. Now, this is number 3 question. I love this question because it's looking like what we did in simplifying ratios when we were talking about decimal. Now, what do? We'll be dealing with whole numbers. Now, this is a decimal. How do you go about it? It says 2.5 ratio 4 equal to D ratio 12. Now, the same thing we did, we do it like that. See, this is 225 over 10. Remember, we said we're giving a decimal, convert to fraction. Ratio simply means what? Divide. So it's divided by 4. You can put over 1 here. Equal to, this gives us what? D over 12. What do you do when you have a division sign? Overturn the fraction on your right, then change this to what? Multiplication. So this is 25 over 10 equal to, times 1 over 4 equal to D over 12. So 25 times 1 is 25. 10 times 4 gives us 40. So that's 25 over 40 equal to D over 12. And what do we do from here? What's our LCM of 40 and 12? So let's quickly look for that. 40, 12. 2 here gives us 20. 2 here gives us what? 6. 2 here is 10. 2 here is 3. 2 here is 5. This bring down 3 here. 3 goes here, this 5, this 1. 5 here gives us 1, 1. So 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 2, 8. 8 times 3, 24. 24 times 5 is 20, carry 2. 5 times this, 10, plus this gives us what? 12, 120. So 24 times 5 gives us 120. Our LCM here, multiply through by 120, which is our LCM. So from here, how do we go about this? 120 by 25 over 40 equal to D over 12 times 120. 40 here, 1. 40 goes here, gives us 3. 12 here, 1. 12 here gives us 10. Now I'd like to bring this one up so that we can see what we're doing. So from here, 3 times 25 is 75. So 75 equal to D times 10. That gives us 10D. Now we'll come to this point. What do we do to find the value D? A number and a letter together in math means the number is multiplying the letter. So if the number is multiplying the letter, what do we do to remove this 10 away from here? The opposite of multiplication is division. So divide both sides by 10. Divide both sides with the number carrying the letter. If this were 5, you divide both sides by 5. If it were 8, divide both sides by 8. Anytime you see a number and a letter like this, it means they are multiplying themselves. So what do you do to remove the number from there? You divide both sides by the number carrying the letter. Can I hear somebody say that? Divide both sides by the number carrying the letter, or with the number carrying the letter. So this 75 over 10 equal to 10D over 10. So 10 will go. What we have here is 5 here gives us what? 2. 5 into 75. 5 into 7 is 1. Remain 2. Bring it here. 5 into 25 is 5. So therefore, our D gives us 15 over 2. Now 2 into 15 gives us 7 whole number 1 over 2. You may be required, for example, purpose to represent this as a decimal. How do we do that? This is 15 and this is 2. 2 into 15 is 7 by long division. 7 times 2 is 14. When you subtract, that brings us 1. Now 2 into 1, it can't go. So what do? We introduce a decimal point. These decimal points we introduce. Remember I told you numbers after decimal point are called fractions, decimal fractions. And the denominator, the first number is 10. The second number is that 2 digits after the decimal point is 100. So because of the decimal point, we introduce a 0 here. 2 into 10 is 5. 5 times 2 gives us 10. So you subtract, gives us 0. So 7.5 is the same thing as 7.5. So for example purpose options, you could see, you may not see this as an answer, you may see this. This is what you do to arrive at your answer. I think with this, equivalence ratio should not be a problem. I'd like to take one more example that tells you if you have the unknown at the denominator, what do you do? We'll see in the next example. Thank you. Now this is example 4, our last example of equivalence ratio. What do you do when you have a denominator as the unknown? That's what we're taking the example. So the first thing you do is what? Convert to a fraction, which is 9 over 2. Equal to 81 over C. For short, look at these two numbers. They're the same, right? They're equivalent. Even this, they're equivalent, though we don't know what this is. So what do we need to do to this number to get this? Multiply 9 by 9 gives you 81. Multiply 9 by 2 gives us this letter. But for solution purpose, how is it done? Let's go. Our LCM here, remember in fraction, if you can't find the LCM, what do? You multiply the denominators. So 2 times C gives us 2C. So multiply both sides by our LCM, which is 2C. Multiply both sides by 2C. So let me put it like this. LCM, let us still. LCM. So 2c times 9 over 2 equal to 2c times 81 over c. 2 here, 1. 2 here is 1. Now c here is 1, c here is 1. C times 9 gives us 9c equal to 2 times 81 gives us this 162. Now what do you do from what we did in the last question? We're having 9c equal to 162. Since these these numbers here, or this number is an algebraic term because it's carrying a c. Since we have 9c here, we're going to divide both sides with this number. So divide both sides by 9. So 9c over 9 equal to 162 over 9. 9 here 1, 9 here 1. So our c will now be equal to what is left here. So 9 here is 1. 9 into 16 is 1. Remain how many? Remain 7. 9 into 72 is 8. 8. So that means 9 into 162 is 18. So therefore our C gives us 18, which was what we got initially. Look at it. 9 times 9 gives us 81. 9 times 2 gives us this, which is 18. This brings us to the end of equivalence ratio. If you have any question, don't forget to drop your comments in the comment section. Thank you.